Pregame.com. Welcome back, pregame.tv. Look who's here.
Now.
We flew him in for the game.
Just for the game.
Welcome, young man. You missed our breakdown battle of Chicago. We're going to be talking about Toronto. We are going to be talking about Atlanta, interleague baseball. And because you're late, you sit the bench. Bryan Leonard, what do you think?
Off. This is an interleague game, and if you've watched this week, it's all rivalries. Toronto, Atlanta. What kind of rivalry is that?
I think Toronto-Philly would be a better rivalry.
You know, the thing is, they match up all the teams around each other. Somehow they got stuck with Toronto and Atlanta. No natural rivalries.
There might have been a time when both were competing for an Olympics.
Good point. I don't know what that has to do with this game.
But that's the reasoning behind it.
But what I like here is they're playing two games in one city, traveling to the other city for two games. I'm watching the game yesterday, and I already knew this, but you know, the announcers were talking about it. They go, the worst thing the players hate is a two-game series. You can just imagine a one-game series. But a two-game series, once you get in, you get comfortable, got to get up and leave again. And we've all been on vacation. We've had a 2 or 3 day vacation. It's very similar. You're going into Toronto, playing in Toronto, got to go through customs, travel all the way to Atlanta. How is Atlanta going to have their regular home field advantage here? I think there's an advantage here with Toronto. Ismael Rogers getting a spot start for the Blue Jays. He pitched his career numbers are terrible, but he pitched in Colorado with the Rockies. Since he's come over to the American League, he played for Cleveland for a little bit last year and had some pretty good success. After that, he's gone off to Toronto. Since he's been in the American League, in 75 innings, he got 68 strikeouts and a decent 3.68 ERA, which is actually pretty good when you convert it over to the American League. In the Jays right now, offenses, we're taping this on Tuesday, the offense is playing really well, scored 44 runs in the last 6 games. Chris Medlin is a very good pitcher. He's 1-5 on the season. He's a lot better pitcher than that. So, you know, obviously, he's a good pitcher. And, you know, Atlanta right now with the current line of what we have, they're the team that should win this game. But you go back to what Medlin did last year, his home run situation, he only gave up 6 home runs in 138 innings. That's just unsustainable. Now it's starting to get back to what you would normally see based on his ground ball, fly ball ratio. He's starting to give up the more home runs. He's still a very good pitcher, but you're getting Atlanta here in a situation where I don't think they're going to have that same home field advantage. And I got an underrated pitcher for the visitor. I got an overrated pitcher for the host. I'll take the plus money.
Now, you didn't have a weather report for me. And one thing I was worried about is that you go from Toronto, probably like a snowstorm in April, probably not used to hot and muggy. We're going to have a hot and muggy day where Toronto's going to struggle with the weather change. VR, you got anything on this one?
Here's the thing. Coming into the season, over and over and over again, I kept saying, why is everyone on this Toronto bandwagon?
Why didn't they bet under 91? They haven't done.
I said it on the first preview show over and over again, and arguing with the producer. And I said, in that American League East, they're not even going to be better than the Yankees, Boston, or Tampa Bay. So how's this team going to win all those? What are the rest of those teams going to win? 105 games?
Miami,
how's that going to happen? So for me, this is simple. It's overvalued versus undervalued as far as the teams go. Look at the Braves. Here's a team that's 31-20, and yet if you bet them every day, you'd be up over 8 units for the season. Toronto, if you bet them every day, you'd be down over 10 units. This is as overvalued of a team as it comes. But eventually the market catches up. And now Toronto's not that sexy hot pick anymore. But they just don't have the pitching for me to back this team. You know what I mean? When you look at the Braves, this is a team that's loaded both sides. They score runs, and they're 5th in WHIP, 5th in ERA. I mean, it's hard to score runs on this team. Toronto's been putting a couple more of late, but I'm not sold on this team, man. I'm not willing to back the Braves, but I've not bet Toronto, I don't think, all season.
Should I get out my waffle iron here? You're kind of like a politician, so.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion.
Kind of like,
I don't really have an opinion.
Either way.
He's giving the other side, and obviously when you've got a big favorite like Atlanta is, there's plenty of reasons to play Atlanta. Two things to say. I think just about everybody we knew took Toronto under his season wins. But you talked about being down 10 units and being up 8 units. Why didn't you tell us that beginning of the season? We just bet all their games by now.
No, you're right. The thing that I look at, I'll tell you, and I know early in the season you said it's early to look at that Pythagorean wins and losses, and it's still early. It's about week 4 in the NFL right now as far as baseball goes. But if you look at Atlanta at plus .88 run differential, they've won 5 more games than they should have. If you look at Toronto, minus 6.9 run differential, they've lost 3.5 more games than they should have. So it's kind of the other end of the spectrum. Right. So I expect Toronto to play a little better and Braves kind of regress a little bit. And because of this price, I kind of would side with you or leave the game alone. But I just don't have any confidence in Toronto yet.
Before we make it official, who's either one of you? Who's the better league, American League or National League?
National right now. National right now.
The
American League's sexier, but National's better.
You think so?
Right now. Right now.
Brian's, you're on the fence.
If you go by interleague play, American League has dominated National over the National League. So, but the National League seems to win the World Series.
Yeah.
Are the National League premier teams slightly better?
That's what it is.
Premier teams are better. Sort of like the Eastern Conference, Western Conference, and the NBA.
Exactly. It's their elite. Yeah. Where as a whole, I think you're probably right. The American League has more middle and even bottom. But I think top-heavy is the next.
Although the Western Conference turned into a mash unit, most of the teams that all started with Gallinari of Denver, and then every superstar on the West Coast started going down or got banged up. And by the time we got done, the Spurs were the last man standing, you know?
And I did want to point out, when you're taking a look at the American League against the National League, the last few years, all the premier free agents seem to be coming to the American League that were in the National League. I mean, you take a look at the best pitchers, they've moved over to the American League. The best hitters have moved over to the American League, so it's even getting stronger.
That's where the money is, though. Look at the teams.
It is. The bigger markets, they have the money to spend. Some of the Dodgers, the Dodgers spending money, they're not winning.
Well, let's go ahead and make it official. We got a nice big plus size.
Plus money, baby.
And you're telling me this is going to be. You're not going to be a plus size guy anymore because you are going.
I need to start losing weight again.
You're going on the regime of all regimes starting tomorrow.
Starting today, actually.
Beautiful. Well, the bright lights are going to get you.
Once I got to the point where I couldn't wear my suit jacket anymore, you know how cheap I am. I'm not going on and buying another suit jacket, so now I got to lose some weight.
You'll like the way you're going to look. Let's make this one official.
Toronto's the team we went against early in the season, and VR pointed out how they've done so far. But this is a team that has plenty of talent, and they're starting to play better. I had a few things I looked at early in the season, a few things that I'd read where there was a little bit of tension in the locker room. Guys hadn't played together before. Now they're starting to come together. And just take a look at what Kawasaki did the other day, being the Japanese player, came over for Seattle, now plays for Toronto. He's sort of like brought this team together a little bit. Just watching this team play, they're playing with more confidence, a little bit better camaraderie. That's something we like here. And if you look at talent, I mean, take a look at before the season started. If you were to say that these two pitchers, if Toronto was going to get this kind of number in Atlanta, obviously you would have taken Toronto. Toronto was expected to win as many, I believe, pretty much right on where Atlanta was in the season of wins. So we'll take the nice number here with Toronto. Last time I was in here, I had a big favorite that lost. Got to come back, give you a big dog that wins.
Don't talk about losers.
Don't talk about losers?
It's getting hot in here, boys.
I didn't lose any video plays last week.
Oh, I think I swept again. I've just been sweeping.
I wasn't here.
I know.
I'm going to start carrying a broom in here.
I know. You go back and you add up how we've all done collectively amazing because we disagree on quite a few games. We really had a stellar record when you add it all up. So hope to go ahead and keep that going. We've got one more baseball discussion coming up here, pregame.tv. We're going to talk about how to fix the broken Major League Baseball umpiring system. These clowns can't seem to get any close calls right. Heck, they get blatantly clear home run calls wrong. I'm going to fix it. Stay with us, pregame.tv. I'll tell you the system we should be going to.